So you come in, you take, and just calmly taking over.
I'm not really drinking tonight. I'm just taking it easy.
Oh, Luke's here. I'm gonna see him. See you later. Oh, sure.
Finally. So.
Thanks, time to make an appearance.
Hey, how you doing? Sorry, I had a few things to do before I got here. So.
Beat this.
Not everyone is a perv like you.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey, wrong one?
Thank you.
No worries.
Thanks, Tom.
I owe you.
Sorry?
I said I owe you for being late getting here.
We'll call it even.
Oh, that's the shit. Sorry.
Give us a text, yeah, if you're still on for seeing that movie.
Later, Jim.
Leah's, yeah. Oh, Jay is actually upstairs, so are you okay on the sofa? Fine. Love you. Love you too.
Hey.
Oh, you still there?
Yeah, what happened to the music?
Everyone left. Like you fall asleep in the kitchen or something.
I must have.
Waster.
Hey, Gemma. Gem, I'm freezing. Can you budge up? Gemma.
Get a blanket.
I've checked. I can't find any. Gemma, come on, budge up.
Fine, just quiet.
You have fun at the party tonight? You look gorgeous.
Thanks.
Hey, do you remember that time? Jay's Christmas party? We got off in his little brother's room. Do you remember that? Hmm?
Babe, I really need to sleep.
Gem. Gem. You look so good dancing tonight. Just like old times, yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to be asking the group now is about whether Gemma agreed to what just happened, the oral sex. So the question we're going to be asking is, did Gemma consent? We're going to go...
Hello?
I want to speak to the police. This guy I know, he did something to me.
Mr. Morris, tell me about the night of the party.
I wasn't even going out. And then I got a text from Gemma asking if I was heading down, so I thought, yeah, why not?
Text retrieved from Miss Selby's phone. Hey, party at Amy's. You coming? Gem, kiss, kiss, kiss. The two of you had a previous relationship, is that correct?
Yeah, we went out for about 3 months or something. Honestly, that's why when I got the text, I thought she was still interested.
What happened at the party?
She kept looking over. My mate Phil, he told me that he'd got with her.
Been bombarding me with texts ever since, though. Proper stalker. You know what she's like, though.
I just remember her looking over all night. Anytime we spoke, our faces were so close, practically touching. I just kept thinking that she wanted to get back together or something.
Miss Selby, do you deny Mr. Morris's version of events?
I was just having a laugh. It was a party.
Now, Mr. Morris claims that you were close with him all night, intimate.
It was loud. You had to get close to hear anyone.
But you deny flirting with him.
Yes. I don't know. Maybe. I just flirt. The same as most people. Just mates, just chatting.
But you did have a previous relationship with Mr. Morris.
Well, not a relationship. We went for a few drinks.
Do you, send intimate photos of yourself to everyone you drink with? This image from Miss Selby's phone, sent to Mr. Morris via Snapchat.
I was proper early on. It was a joke.
Okay, was this one a joke too?
It didn't mean anything.
With images like these, is it any wonder Mr. Morris was under the impression that you liked him? Now tell me about the previous relationship with Mr. Morris.
We never slept together. There was some, like, touching, I guess. Kissing. All the times we ever did stuff.
By stuff you mean sexual?
I was never into it. I didn't really fancy him. That's why I finished it.
Tell me about Mr. Morris's friend, Phil.
Just had a snog, you know. We were both pretty drunk.
Did you give him oral sex?
No.
Had the two of you ever had sexual contact prior to that encounter? Please answer the question. Had the two of you ever had sexual contact before?
Week before. Yes.
When he left the party, you must have been very disappointed. Then when he just left, you felt used, angry. It's not nice being humiliated, is it?
What do you mean?
And then when you saw Mr. Morris come out of that kitchen drunk, you spotted your chance.
Chance? Chance for what?
To pay Phil back for rejecting you.
No.
You were very happy when Mr. Morris came out of that kitchen. You were very happy to give him oral sex.
He made me.
Then why didn't you put a stop to it? All you needed to say was no. It all would have been very simple. You could have called out to your friend in the upstairs room.
I don't know. I just couldn't. I just froze.
Maybe the next day you got worried that when it got around college that you'd been intimate with Mr. Morris and his best friend in a single night, you regretted it.
No, that's not what happened.
Well, then why did it take so long to report the alleged crime? It was almost 2 weeks. Hasn't this gone far enough? You do realise that Mr. Morris could get a custodial sentence for this? And all over a misunderstanding at a party.
The group will vote on the next question. Did Tom believe he had consent? What happened? What were you accused of and how?
2013, I was falsely accused of rape and kidnap.
He's actually accused of something like rape. That's massive. That's like, to me, that's like the worst thing you could ever be accused of, worse than murder in my eyes. So, yeah, I didn't like him at first.
My nightmare started after they charged me, and then they kept me on remand. So for a brief period, well, for about 3 weeks, I was put in prison. I had to pay £10,000. I was on a tag. They were trying to tag. My passport was seized and I was monitored. You know, I was restricted. But meanwhile, your whole life starts collapsing around you. I was subject to media attention as well, and my name was out there, and it was very difficult for my family. It was difficult for me. I had to sort of go into hiding, and finances ran dry. Businesses, it's collapsed. You know, when as far as the banks closed my accounts down, it was just, I was thrown into the dark age. I couldn't really focus on my personal life because I had to focus on my trial. You know, I was looking at life behind bars, something I didn't do. I would have come out in my 60s, you know, when I got released. So it was the focus.
I felt sorry for him. I felt a bit like taken aback. I didn't think he was gonna like start crying. It was really sad, and I actually understood what happened. I actually felt sorry for him, even though I was totally against him at first. But yeah.
It clearly doesn't get any easier.
No. I would have rather been accused of murder.
Yeah.
The trial happened and everything was coming out. The truth was coming out.
The judge literally put a stop to the trial.
Yeah, yeah. It got to the point it was laughable. I didn't rape her. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Rape is a horrible thing. I'm all for rapists being punished. I'm all for that. I'll be the first in line punishing them myself. But when someone's not done it, why am I being punished?
Yeah. What would you say was harder? The fact that you might have faced prison time, or that your reputation will be ruined?
Reputation. It sticks with you, bro. It sticks with you.
Everything that he went to, his business collapsing, women being afraid to talk to him being questioned all the time. It's like, it's very raw stuff.
With something like that, automatically you're guilty. Automatically, you know.
I think naturally you would just side with like the woman, but hearing it from his side and how it actually impacted on his life, it was just completely shocking.
When it comes to consent, do you actively seek some kind of proof of consent?
100%. 100%. I record things. I ask clear questions. I ask your name, your age, where you live. Are you comfortable? Are you drunk?
You record this?
I record it.
Right.
I don't want to be like this, but I've been forced to, based on my experience.
Thank you so much for coming and,
thank you.
and sharing that.
Society.
Mr. Morris, I'd like to talk a little bit about the text inviting you to the party. Now, why do you say that it indicated Miss Selby was still into you?
Because of how it was put, all flirty with 3 kisses. Just the same as when we were going out.
You are aware that it was a group text? Now, I'd like to discuss Miss Selby's flirting. Now, isn't it possible that you just misread the signals? That what you perceived as flirting was nothing more than a young woman enjoying herself? Perhaps you were upset.
Of what?
About the fact Miss Selby had rejected you. Is that why you kept on drinking?
No, everyone was drinking.
After the party was finished, what gave the impression that Miss Selby wanted you to sleep over?
Well, because she was fine with me being there. We had slept in the same bed loads before, so I just climbed up on the sofa bed.
Then what happened?
I don't know, we kissed.
Did she kiss you back?
I don't know, I can't remember.
Did she say anything?
She didn't say anything like stop or anything.
But she didn't do anything to indicate that she wanted you to continue?
She would definitely have said if she wasn't into it.
What happened after that?
We moved on.
You moved to get on top of her?
Yeah.
At first, it was awkward, embarrassing. I thought maybe if I didn't respond, he'd, like, get the message.
Did she say anything?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Mr. Morris, did she respond in any way at all?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. She wasn't upset or anything. It was all fine. She was into it.
Really? And if she didn't say anything, didn't respond, how do you know she wanted you to continue?
Because I was there. I could tell.
How? Mr. Morris, weren't you still drunk at this point?
Yeah, but not so much so that...
That's when he moved.
She started, you know, sucking.
Where were your hands during this oral sex?
Maybe one...
On the back of her neck, yeah? Where were her hands?
I don't remember, like, all over me. She was into it.
Again, how did you know?
You know, she didn't exactly stop.
I just froze. I wanted it to stop.
How could I make her? It was her mouth. She was the one doing it. No, she would have stopped.
Mr. Morris, one more thing. You claim that throughout the evening, Miss Selby gave a strong indication that she was still interested in you, and that at no point did you have any reason to think what occurred was against Miss Selby's wishes. And yet, you sent 2 text messages to a friend later that morning. Mate, got it on with Jem last night. Had better. She didn't even do anything. And an hour later, to the same recipient, she wasn't that into it, but hey, party's a party. Don't these messages show that you knew full well that Miss Selby did not give her consent? But you carried on with that sexual act just to please yourself, didn't you? Because you raped her, didn't you, Mr. Morris?
Now, they will be voting on the final and most crucial question. Is this rape? Beth was a university student when she says she was raped.
So this is Beth. This is everyone.
She went home with a man who she met in a bar on a night out. She'd been drinking heavily with him.
I remember sitting down on his bed, him putting the movie on, and then I passed out, and then I remember him on top of me, and I remember saying no, get off me, and trying to move my head away as he tried to kiss me. Then I passed out again, and then when I woke up in the morning, my clothes were on the floor, and I just immediately felt sick and wanted to get out of there. Sat up, he grabbed my arm, was like, "Where do you think you're going?" And I said, "I'm just going to the loo," grabbed my stuff and ran out the house. But because everyone had told me before, if you let the guy buy you drinks, if you're friendly, if you willingly go back to theirs, it's your fault, you asked for it. So I didn't tell anybody. Eventually, after a few years, I broke down because I couldn't hold the guilt in anymore. And I've had friends say they don't believe me. And when eventually I did tell the police, they were very kind to me, but they were very honest about the fact that I was wearing a short skirt and I'd been drunk and I'd gone back to his house willingly. That's all stuff that the defence uses. They were very honest that that would mean that it probably wouldn't even go to trial.
And do you think that maybe your attacker, he was somebody who was of the opinion that because you'd had drinks and stuff, what he was doing was okay?
Undoubtedly, yeah. He contacted me about a week after to see if I would go out like on a date with him. So he had absolutely no idea, really, I don't think, what he'd done. So.
You're right. Abigail Husbands is the barrister who helped us devise our drama. It's based on real-life cases she has prosecuted and defended.
Okay, guys, this is Abigail.
So what exactly does a jury have to consider when deciding whether to convict someone of rape?
Elements of the offence.
Okay, so let's go through the case. Legally, what is the definition of rape?
Well, rape, there are 3 questions that the jury would be told that they've got to answer. And those questions are, firstly, are you sure in this case that Tom penetrated either Gemma's mouth, vagina or anus? We know it was mouth in this case. Tom's not disputing that. He's saying all along, yes, that did happen, so that's not an issue in this case. Secondly, are you sure that Gemma did not consent?
Okay, the idea of consent.
What's important is whether she consented that night to that act. It doesn't matter how much they've been together beforehand, it doesn't matter whether she sent pictures on Snapchat. None of that has a bearing on consent and whether Gemma consented. And then finally, are you sure that Tom did not reasonably believe that she was consenting? So essentially that he didn't believe she was consenting but just went ahead and did it anyway. And what you've got to look at is what she was doing. And she was doing nothing. She wasn't responding, she had her arms down by her side, she wasn't kissing him, she wasn't inviting any of that. Looking at that, I'd say, no, there was no reasonable belief in consent.
Is there anything that you think conclusively convicts him?
The text messages are pretty damning evidence.
She wasn't that into it, but hey, party's a party.
Well, there, he knows when he's writing that text message to his mate. I mean, it might be a bit of bravado, but it goes further than that, I'd say, those text messages, because it shows exactly what was in his brain straight after that act.
Based on all of that, you think Tom would be convicted of rape?
Yes. Yes.
So, they finally learnt that under the law, Tom did rape Gemma.